After my video a while ago titled, "Which political party should we vote for, if at all?" I started to think about whether any political party, whether in existence or not, is even capable of salvaging South Africa from the tinderbox it finds itself in right now. This is not going to be a review of any specific party, but rather an honest look at the political situation as well as the physical situation on the ground as it stands in South Africa right now, with the aim of seeing if it is a situation that is salvageable or not by any elected party. As it stands right now, there are around 50 odd million black people and roughly 3.5 to 4 million whites, coloreds, Indians, and others in this country. The ANC has, over the last 25 years, made so many promises to those 50 million black people that they are now demanding what they are promised. They have largely voted faithfully to keep the ANC in power for years and have not received what they were promised. The ANC is not capable of fulfilling those promises. They never have been. So on that aspect, the ANC, in my opinion, can fulfill the promises made to the masses. So here is situation number one that is not viable by any party at all, in my opinion. Now we get to the EFF and BLF, as well as that idiot Cloudy Motsoeneng, who thinks that he is an intellectual lecture. I will only speak of the two most prominent ones, the EFF and BLF, because Cloudy falls into the same category as the other two, and if not, is really quite irrelevant. For a while now, Julius Malema and Andile Mngitama have been spewing blatant racism and inciting violence against white minority populations. It is their outspoken incitement of violence that is responsible for the farm murders taking place right now, in my opinion. Other than that, they have both promised a large number of people that they will get land. Who knows what they would do with the land, but they have been promised the land, so that is what they want. They are going to want to move out of their shacks that they currently live in inside of the townships and build themselves new shacks on land they intend on taking from white people. After that, they will all be wealthy and lived happily ever after. You're right. If the EFF and BLF think that farmers and anyone else is just going to give up their land without a fight, I think they are sorely mistaken. As the leader of the Freedom Front Plus said in Parliament, if you want to start a civil war in this country, do that. In short, the day they start invading farmlands and claiming property as their own, the sparks are going to fly immediately. This situation cannot be diffused by any party. These masses of black people have been promised the land and they are going to want it, period. No party would dare tell them that they now can't have the land, because that would mean instant death to that party. So here we have a situation number two that is absolutely not salvageable by any party at all, not even the parties that made the promises. Now we come to the real important things, the environmental damage that the government has done with their total lack of competence to maintain any of the sewage processing plants throughout the country. The Vaal River is a total disaster that is in such a state that it has been estimated by an expert that it is going to cost in the order of billions to rehabilitate. There are literally millions of liters of raw sewage running into the Vaal and other rivers every single day. I've already heard unconfirmed reports that all water in South Africa that is drinking water coming out of your taps is unfit for human consumption already. It is only a matter of time before diseases like cholera and typhoid break out here. This might be a salvageable situation in the long run, but realistically, the black people care little about the ecology of areas they live in, and therefore can definitely not be counted on to act on the problem at all. Something needs to be done about the situation right now before we face a catastrophe of epic proportions in this country, and neither the ANC, EFF or BLF could ever salvage what there is to salvage. The DA would make an effort, I am sure, but with the severe financial constraints the country is facing right now, it would take them forever to make a dent into the damage already done. So realistically speaking, the situation is not salvageable in the short term anyway. Another issue is the total collapse of infrastructure countrywide. First, there are the state-owned enterprises like Eskom, SABC, SAA, the Post Office, etc., and a host of others that are now literally bankrupt and in a state of total collapse. The degradation of physical infrastructure at places like Eskom could take hundreds of billions of rands to restore to semi-working status. As I said before, There are sewage stations all over the country dumping millions of liters of raw sewage into the rivers and on the coast every day, simply because the treatment plants have fallen into a state of total disrepair due to corruption, incompetence, and a total lack of caring in general. This is a situation that is financially beyond the reach of the country as a whole, and therefore beyond the reach of any political party, no matter which one. This is therefore a situation that is beyond rescue right now. So what do we do as a white minority party or people that has had absolutely no hand in creating this mess? In fact, if it wasn't for the die-hard whites still clinging onto certain jobs, whether it be blue collar or white collar, the country's infrastructure would have collapsed long ago. There are many very capable white engineers and very skilled artisans who maintained the country's infrastructure for years without any of these problems cropping up ever. A good example of this is Eskom. Until very recently, where have you ever heard of load shedding? I could be mistaken, and I'm not a historian, but I'm pretty sure that this country has never before experienced load shedding since the first power station was commissioned. There's no getting away from the sheer numbers of black people in this country, and unfortunately a vast majority of them are totally uneducated and ignorant. On the other hand, we have a very small minority of people who are, for the most part, well educated and skilled, the white population. We have a so-called democracy where these masses of largely ignorant people are deciding on the fate of the rest of us, and by sheer numbers and total ignorance are dragging the country down into the abyss of destruction and dragging us down with it. Why should we, or more importantly, why would we want to go down with them? If you were a person considering a trip on the Titanic on its maiden voyage, and somehow knew without a shadow of a doubt that the Titanic was going to sink on its maiden voyage, would you have booked a ticket on it and got on that ship? We, the minority white population, know full well where this country is going and where it is going to end. Yet, we keep renewing our tickets to stay on the sinking ship. It is my opinion that we as a minority need to distance ourselves from this mess as soon as possible, by any means possible. What does this mean? Well, we need to pull together as one single body and by some means literally separate ourselves from what is South Africa. I therefore am in favor of any attempt to do this, whether it be by means of a peaceful secession, declaring ourselves as an independent new nation, or by whatever other means will leave us disassociated with this so-called shithole, as it has been called. Now, secession is easier said than done, because unless the government, that is the ANC, agrees to it, we would be powerless to enforce the cessation unless we fought for it physically. This is something we would like to avoid, but as a last resort could be looked at or considered. What really appeals to me is the idea of declaring ourselves as an independent nation without a territory, for now. Many of you have seen my video on Zuidland and why I think it is a great idea. The concept is growing in popularity and even caters for other minority groups individually. By declaring ourselves independent as a literal new nation or state, we get to form our own laws to which we all live by, as well as our own government structure. We also get our foot in the door to be recognized as a new nation without stepping on anyone's toes as far as territory goes, that is the land. That bridge can be crossed at a later stage, as there is a plan for that in place already. This can also be accomplished without any violence or conflict. If you missed my video on Zuidland and Yusuf, I urge you to watch it. Go to their website and read their literature. It makes for interesting reading. In conclusion, in my opinion, the situation here in South Africa is not viable as is. And even if a political party took control today and was filled with 100% capable people, who would fund the resurrection of the country and its SOEs? The majority whites, or rather the minority whites, have for the most part been financing the government for the last 25 years. They can't be expected to finance the resurrection as well. There's also no way to get rid of the groups like the EFF and the BLF, who are supported by hundreds of thousands of largely uneducated and ignorant black people who will keep tearing down and destroying whatever we build. The only thing they want is power and access to the piggy bank, just like the ANC. For this reason, I think it is a waste of time for any party to try and save this country while the demographics stay the way they are. It's a no-win situation, and no and not viable in the long run at all. If you enjoyed this video and got some value from it, please like and share it on other social media platforms. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, do so now and click on the bell icon to receive notifications of future uploads from me. If you feel the need to support my channel by making a small contribution to help me keep the lights on and food on the table, I have provided a number of ways for local as well as international subscribers to make a contribution. Check in the description field below for details. To those that have made a contribution already, I say thank you very much. You have no idea how much it is appreciated. Until next time.